My girlfriend laughed. You really think you're going to make it as a writer? Get a real job. On the day I got my first book deal, I said nothing, just signed the contract, used the advance to move out, and dedicated the book to everyone who believed in me. You know who you are. When it hit the bestseller list, and she saw the dedication. Original post. I, 32 male, have been writing since I was 12. It's the only thing I've ever been good at. I'm not saying I'm the next Stephen King, but I have a voice. For the last 5 years, I've been waking up at 5 a.m. to write for 2 hours before dragging myself to a soul-crushing job as a technical copywriter for a medical supply company. It pays the bills, but it drains the life out of you. I've been living with Sierra for 3 years. Sierra works in high-end event planning. She's ambitious, sharp, and cares deeply about optics. When we first met, she thought the struggling writer thing was cute. It was an aesthetic. But as we got closer to 30 and my big break hadn't happened, the cuteness curdled into resentment. She wanted the power couple lifestyle, the trips to Tulum, the leased Audi, the reservations at places that serve foam on plates. I wanted to pay rent and finish my manuscript. The dynamic shifted about a year ago. She started making little digs. Are you playing with your imaginary friends? She'd ask when I went into the office on Saturday mornings. Or, must be nice to have a hobby you take so seriously, while she was answering work emails at 9 p.m. I took it. I figured she was stressed. I figured once I sold the book, she'd get it. Last Tuesday, I got the call. My agent, a terrifyingly competent woman named Joyce, called me at work. Elias, she said, we have an offer. A preempt. It's a 2-book deal. Hardcover, lead title. I almost dropped my phone. The advance wasn't lottery money, but it was significant. $80,000 for the first book, $80,000 for the second. Payout spread over 2 years. Enough to quit the medical supply job? Maybe not forever, but enough to breathe. Enough to validate every early morning. I left work early. I went to the grocery store and bought a bottle of Veuve Clicquot, which cost more than my weekly grocery budget, and ingredients for Sierra's favorite risotto. I wanted to celebrate. I wanted to tell her, we did it. Sierra got home around 7:30 p.m. She was in a mood. Something about a caterer dropping the ball for a charity gala. She threw her bag on the counter and saw the champagne. What's this? She asked, looking suspicious rather than excited. Did you get fired? No, I said, grinning like an idiot. Joyce called. We sold the book, Sierra. A 2-book deal with a major publisher. I waited for the hug, the scream, the I told you so. Sierra just stared at the bottle. She let out a short, sharp laugh. Not a happy laugh. A scoff. Okay, she said, kicking off her heels. For how much? Like $5,000. No, I said, my smile faltering. A lot more than that. Low 6 figures for the deal total. She paused. I saw the gears turning. For a second, I thought she was going to be happy. Then she shook her head, rolling her eyes as she opened the fridge to grab a sparkling water, ignoring the champagne. Elias, look, that's great. Really, but let's be realistic. That money isn't going to hit your account for months, right? And then taxes, agent fees. It's not a salary. You can't get a mortgage with a book deal. It's a career, Sierra, I said. It's what I've been working for. She turned to me, leaning against the counter, looking at me with this pitying expression that hurts more than anger. Babe, you really think you're going to make it as a writer? Like, actually, it's a hobby, a cute hobby, but we need stability. I need a partner who is building a future, not playing pretend. You need to get a real job. Like, maybe ask Trent if his firm is hiring sales guys. You can talk, use that. Trent is her work husband, a guy who wears vests and talks about crypto. I have a real job, I said quietly. And I just sold a book. You sold a lottery ticket, she snapped, her voice rising. God, you are so immature sometimes. I've been carrying us socially and financially for years while you type away in that room. I'm tired, Elias. I don't want to celebrate your little project. I want you to grow up. She grabbed her purse. I'm going to meet the girls for drinks. Don't wait up. She left. The door slammed. I stood there in the silent kitchen. The risotto was bubbling on the stove. The champagne was sweating on the counter. I didn't get mad. I didn't cry. I just felt done. It was like a switch flipped. I realized she didn't just doubt me. She resented me. She didn't want a partner who succeeded on his own terms. She wanted an accessory that fit her specific vision board. I turned off the stove. I poured the champagne down the sink. Okay, I drank one glass, then poured the rest out. I went into my office. I opened the DocuSign email from Joyce. I signed a contract. Then I opened my banking app. We kept our finances separate, thank God. But I paid 60% of the rent because I made slightly more at the day job. The lease was month to month now. We had been meaning to renew but hadn't signed yet. I looked at my savings. I had enough for a deposit and first month somewhere else. I booked a U-Haul for the next morning. I knew Sierra had a 6 a.m. call time for her event and wouldn't be back until late the next night. I called in sick to work for the next 2 days. By the time Sierra came home the following night, I was gone. I didn't take anything of hers. I didn't smash anything. I didn't leave a nasty note. I took my clothes, my books, my desk, and my TV. I left my key on the counter next to a printout of the lease termination notice I'd sent to the landlord, effective in 30 days. I had paid my share of the rent for the final month. I blocked her number. I blocked her on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I blocked her friends. I moved into a shitty studio apartment across town. It smells like old carpet and the radiator clanks, but it's mine. I'm sitting here now, on an air mattress, typing this. My back hurts, but my head is clear. She thinks I'm throwing a tantrum. She probably thinks I'm staying at a friend's house and will come crawling back when I run out of clean underwear. She doesn't realize that the hobby just bought my freedom. Update 1. It's been 14 months since I left the key on the counter. The fallout from the breakup was expected but still annoying. Since I blocked Sierra everywhere, she couldn't scream at me directly. So, she tried to scream at me through the world. About 3 days after I left, I got an email at my work address, which I couldn't block. Subject: You're a coward. Body: Leaving without a discussion? Really? You are having a mental breakdown. I spoke to your mom. Lie. My mom hates her, and she agrees. You're abandoning the best thing that ever happened to you because you can't handle constructive criticism. Come home, apologize, and we can discuss a therapy plan. Also, you owe me for the utilities this month. I didn't reply. I set up a filter to send her emails directly to a folder named Archive of Sadness. I quit the medical supply job 2 months later, once the first check from the publisher cleared. It wasn't Audi money, but it was by generic brand pasta and right full-time money. That's all I needed. I spent the last year editing the book. It's a thriller called The Good Neighbor. It's about a guy who realizes the woman living next door is running a cult out of her basement. Right what you know, right? The emotional manipulation, not the cult. My editor, Sarah, is amazing. She pushed me. We polished that manuscript until it gleamed. We got a release date. September 12th. 2 days ago. Now, here is the petty part. I'm not proud of it. Well, actually I am. The dedication page. Usually, people dedicate books to their moms, or their partners, or their cats. I thought about it. I thought about Sierra laughing at me in the kitchen. Get a real job. The dedication reads, to everyone who believed in me, you know who you are. And to those who didn't, thank you for the material. It's vague enough to be professional, but specific enough to sting if you know. The book launch was Tuesday. It was a decent turnout at a local indie bookstore. I was signing copies, drinking cheap wine, feeling good. Then I saw her. Sierra. She wasn't in the line. She was standing near the biography section, wearing a trench coat like she was in a spy movie, watching me. She looked the same. Perfectly groomed, judgmental eyes. I ignored her. I kept signing. Thanks, Dave. Enjoy the read. When the line dwindled, she walked up to the table. She didn't buy a book. She just picked one up from the display stack. So she said. Her voice was tight. You actually did it. Hello, Sierra, I said. I didn't stand up. I saw the dedication, she said. She tapped the page with a manicured nail. That's about me, isn't it? Thank you for the material. You wrote a book about me. The book is about a cult leader who murders people, I said. If the shoe fits. She didn't like that. Her face flushed. You are so bitter. I was trying to help you, Elias. I was the one who told you to focus. I pushed you. If I hadn't been the bad guy regarding the money, you wouldn't have worked this hard. I'm the muse. I stared at her. The delusion was breathtaking. She was rewriting history in real time to center herself in my success. You told me to get a real job and laughed at my contract. I said, "You aren't the muse, Sierra. You were the obstacle." "I expect a copy," she said, sniffing. "Signed. For the time I invested in you." "They're $27.99, I said. "Register is at the front." She slammed the book down on the table. "You'll be hearing from me. You can't use my life for profit without consequences." She stormed out. I thought she was bluffing. I really did. I checked the Archive of Sadness folder this morning. There's an email from a law firm. Not a big one. A strip mall firm. Subject: Notice of intent to litigate intellectual property and defamation. She claims that because we were living together when I wrote the book, and because she provided critical feedback on early drafts, she never read a single page. She is entitled to a portion of the royalties as a co-creator. She also claims the villain is based on her likeness and is defamatory. I called Joyce. She laughed for 5 minutes straight. "Let her try," Joyce said. "This is going to be fun." The book just hit number 11 on the Amazon thriller list. I'm going to buy a nice bottle of bourbon. Update 2. Things have escalated. And by escalated, I mean Sierra has decided to set her own reputation on fire to keep me warm. So the lawsuit threat. My publisher's legal team got involved because technically, if someone sues for copyright/IP stuff, the publisher is a target too. They have lawyers who cost more per hour than Sierra makes in a month. They sent a response to Sierra's strip mall lawyer. It was basically a 3-page letter that said politely, "Go ahead. Make our day." They pointed out that I have cloud-saved drafts of the book dating back 3 years, with timestamps showing the plot was fully formed before I even moved in with her. Domestic partnership does not grant IP rights to creative works unless there is a written contract. Defamation requires the character to be identifiable as her. The character in the book is a 60-year-old woman named Gertrude who runs a beet farm. Unless Sierra is admitting she is secretly a 60-year-old beet farmer, she has no case. I thought that would end it. Rational people stop when the scary lawyers show up. Sierra is not rational. Sierra is entitled. She fired the lawyer, or he fired her, and decided to take matters in her own hands. She went to small claims court. Yes, small claims. She sued me for the maximum amount allowed in our state, $10,000. The filing lists: unpaid consulting fees, emotional distress, household support enabling creative work, and theft of services editorial. I had to go to court yesterday. It was an experience. I wore a suit. I brought a binder of evidence. Sierra showed up wearing an outfit that looked like she was auditioning for Legally Blonde 3. She brought her mother, Karen, not her name, but definitely her spirit animal, who sat in the back and glared at me. The judge was a no-nonsense woman who looked exhausted. Sierra went first. She put on a performance. Tears. Hand gestures. "Your Honor," she said, "I supported this man for 3 years. I paid for the internet he used to research. I listened to his plot holes. I gave him the idea for the twist ending. He promised me we were building this career together. Then he gets the check and abandons me? It's fraud." The judge looked at me. "Mr. Elias?" I stood up. "Your Honor, I paid 60% of the rent and utilities during our cohabitation. Here are the bank statements." I handed them over. As for the editorial input, I continued. I have text messages from the claimant regarding my writing. I submitted the screenshots. Exhibit A, Sierra, timestamp 10:45 p.m. Stop talking about the book, Elias. It's boring and you're ruining date night. Exhibit B, Sierra, timestamp 8 a.m. You're wasting your life on that laptop. Get a real job. Exhibit C, Sierra, the day I left, you sold a lottery ticket. Grow up. The judge read the texts. She adjusted her glasses. She looked at Sierra. "Ms. Sierra," the judge said, "you're claiming you were a creative partner?" "Yes," Sierra insisted. "Those texts were out of context. I was using reverse psychology to motivate him. It's a coaching technique." The judge actually chuckled. "Reverse psychology. I see." She flipped through the bank statements. It appears Mr. Elias paid the majority of the household expenses, and there is no written contract regarding editorial services. But we were partners. Sierra wailed. "He used me. You were boyfriend and girlfriend," the judge said. "That is a relationship. not a business merger. Breaking up is not a tort. Mocking someone's dream and then demanding a cut of the profit when they succeed is not a legal cause of action. Judgment. Case dismissed with prejudice. The judge also ordered Sierra to pay my court fees, $150. When we walked out of the courtroom, Sierra's mom tried to block my path. "You should be ashamed," she hissed. "She loved you. She loved the idea of me," I said. "And she loved my paycheck." "Excuse me." I walked to my car. But wait, there's more. Because Sierra couldn't win in court, she decided to try the court of public opinion. She went on TikTok. She made a storytime video. The truth about the good neighbor. How my narcissist ex stole my life story. She didn't name me, probably because she's scared of the publisher's lawyers now, but she named the book. She claimed she wrote the first 3 chapters, and I stole the file. The video got about 5,000 views. But here is where the justice gets sweet. My genre is thrillers. Thriller readers are investigative. There are people who listen to murder podcasts and solve cold cases for fun. They found her video. They looked at her other content, mostly videos of her complaining about service workers and showing off luxury hauls. They started asking questions in the comments. If you wrote it, can you post the original file metadata? Why does the writing style in your captions look nothing like the book? Wait, didn't you say in a previous video that reading is for ugly people? She actually said that in a video from 2021. The internet did what the internet does. They roasted her. They found her LinkedIn where she lists event planning, not editing. She ended up deleting the video after 6 hours because people were duetting it and laughing at her. My sales actually went up. The Good Neighbor broke into the top 100 on Amazon yesterday. The reverse psychology defense is now an inside joke between me and my agent. Update 3, final. It's been 6 months since the court case. The dust has settled. The Good Neighbor did well. Better than well. We sold the foreign rights to Germany and France last week. I'm officially a full-time writer. I bought a house. A small one, with a porch and a dedicated office that has a lock on the door. Sierra has been quiet. I assumed she had finally moved on. I was wrong. She didn't move on. She pivoted. I got a call from a friend of mine, Dave, who still works in the same building as Sierra's event planning firm. "Dude," Dave said, "you won't believe this. Sierra is writing a book." "Good for her," I said. "Maybe she'll finally understand how hard it is." "No," Dave laughed. "She's not writing it. She's using AI, and she's trying to sell it as a response memoir." Apparently, Sierra is self-publishing a book titled The Bad Tenant. Creative, right? The blurb claims it's the true story of living with a creative vampire. I was a little worried, legally speaking. I asked Joyce if we should do anything. Joyce said, "Let her publish it. If she defames you, we sue. But honestly, it's going to be a disaster. Never interrupt an enemy when they're making a mistake." She released it on Kindle Direct Publishing last week. I bought a copy for $2.99. It is unreadable. It's clearly ChatGPT-generated text that she tried to spice up with fancy words. The narrator, her, is described as effervescently perfect and burdened by the genius of beauty. The Elias character is described as a hunched goblin of a man who feared the sunlight of her success. It has 3 reviews. One is 5 stars, clearly from her mom. A brave, truth-telling. The other 2 are 1 star. Review 1. This reads like a robot had a stroke while watching Real Housewives. Review 2. I bought this because I liked The Good Neighbor and thought it was related. It's trash. Do not buy. But the cherry on top? The real consequence? Sierra used her work email to set up the KDP account and apparently spent hours writing, prompting AI, while she was supposed to be planning events. Her boss found out, not because of the book, but because she missed a deadline for a major corporate retreat while she was busy trying to format the ebook cover in Canva. They audited her computer. They found the manuscript, the AI logs, and the hours of wasted time. She was fired last Tuesday. Dave told me she was escorted out of the building. She was screaming that she was a published author, and they couldn't treat her like this. I'm currently working on book 2. It's about a woman who becomes obsessed with revenge and ends up destroying her own life because she can't look in the mirror. It's fiction, of course. Any resemblance to real persons is entirely coincidental. I sent Sierra a gift, though. I sent a copy of The Artist's Way to her parents' house. Inside, I wrote a note. To the Muse. Thanks for the ending. I didn't sign it. She knows who it's from. I'm going to go make some risotto now. And I'm going to drink the whole bottle of champagne.